Hey everybody, this is Brian Hatch, and I wanted to do another tribute to my grandpa. Like I said, I'm going to be doing this all year. And so this is episode number 3, and I hope you will enjoy the stories today. So my grandpa, and really you're going to see a lot of my grandma come out in these, but my grandpa was just an awesome man. Just awesome. He didn't seek glory or fame or any notoriety. He just went through life consistently. And that I think is really cool. But today I thought was interesting because, it's been almost 6 years, been 5.5 years since my grandpa lost my grandma. We all did. And so he's been a little more lonely than he usually is. Still chipper and a good person. He didn't lose himself altogether, but it was definitely a lonely time for him. He missed his wife. And he always, he always stated poetry, and if I haven't stated already, the poems you hear audibly in these episodes, that's actually my grandpa speaking here. So if that gives any context, I want to make sure at least I put that out there. But one of the things he talked about was in some of his in one of his poems particularly is "If I Get to Heaven," and that's the one that you'll be able to listen to here later. But my grandpa's whole world revolved around my grandma. At least that's how I saw it. And maybe I'm missing something, or maybe there was something else that he was doing that I wasn't aware of. But my grandpa, one of the things he did was kept his mind sharp. I mean, he'd memorize poems. He'd work on his mind to make sure that he didn't get Alzheimer's by way of everything that he could do to prevent that kind of stuff. And he was typically ate pretty healthy. He wasn't extremely lost in health issues all the time. But he definitely kept his mind sharp. And so him not being with my grandma was very difficult for him, because that's what his life was revolved around. He wanted to make sure that she was taken care of, that she never had to go somewhere without him, that she never had to be taken care of by foreigners or by people that didn't know who she was. He wanted to be there for her, and so he was. And so I just imagine when he passed away, like a reunion with my grandma that, I don't know, I personally think it's got to be amazing because of just the relationship they had on this earth. And the testament that it is to me, and the example my grandpa was to me of how to serve your wife long term. And maybe it took him a long time. Maybe it took him, through the years of child rearing and that kind of thing. But from everybody that I talked to, is just consistent. He's always consistent. So that leads me to believe that if he was the way he was at the end of his life, and I knew him for at least my whole life, which isn't as long as he was on the earth, but he was there for her. And so he did things. And so I have to imagine that the way he worked his life and created his life in a way that he was always there for my grandma, man, when he got there to see her after he passed out of this life and into the next, man, it had to have been fun. That had to have been good, because my grandma and grandpa, they were the life of the party. My grandpa was consistent, my grandma was the life of the party, and they were a great match and just a lot of fun. So I hope you'll enjoy this poem. If I Get to Heaven, it's one of my grandpa's shortest poems ever. I think it's a little humorous and fun because it might lead you to reflect a little about how you're leading your life, and I hope you enjoy it.
Okay, this is my shortest one. If I get to heaven. If I get to heaven, there will most likely be many folks whose presence there will be a shock to me. But I surely must be quiet. I must not even stare. Doubtless there will be many folks surprised to see me there.